It's an honor to stand before you today, and I want to share something that could change the direction of your life, not through a magic formula or a shortcut, but through something far more powerful and sustainable, your mind. Every person in this room, regardless of background, upbringing, education, or resources, has within them a force capable of transforming dreams into reality. That force is the human mind, and when properly trained, it becomes the most powerful tool we possess. We often hear phrases like mind over matter, change your mindset, believe in yourself, and while they may sound like cliches, buried in these overused words is a deep truth. Our mind is the command center of our lives. It's not just a source of thought, it's a generator of action, an engine of purpose, and ultimately the architect of our destiny. Everything we want to achieve, whether it's professional success, emotional peace, physical transformation, or creative accomplishment, begins as a seed in the mind. And just like a seed, the mind must be cultivated, watered, disciplined, and shaped to grow into something extraordinary. When you look at the most successful individuals in the world, be it athletes, inventors, entrepreneurs, artists, or leaders, they share one common trait: mastery over their mindset. Success didn't fall into their laps. They weren't merely lucky. What they had was clarity of purpose, consistent discipline, and a trained mind that didn't falter in the face of adversity. But here's the good news. You don't need to be born with this skill. You don't need to have had the perfect childhood or the best education. You can train your mind starting today, right now. Just like going to the gym to build your body, training your mind takes repetition, patience, and deliberate effort. So how do we train our mind? First, by understanding that our thoughts are not just fleeting ideas, they are the blueprint for our behavior. Every action starts with a thought. If your thoughts are filled with doubt, fear, and negativity, then your actions will reflect that. But if your thoughts are empowering, focused, and constructive, your actions will align with success. Therefore, mental training starts with thought awareness. Most people operate on autopilot, unaware of the internal dialogue that constantly plays in their minds. Start listening. Listen to how you speak to yourself when you fail. Listen to the excuses you make. Catch yourself when you're procrastinating or talking yourself out of opportunities. That awareness is the first step toward mastery. Once you become aware of your thoughts, challenge them. Not every thought deserves your belief. Just because your mind tells you you're not good enough doesn't make it true. The mind is shaped by past experiences, fears, and social conditioning. But you are not your thoughts. You are the observer of your thoughts, and that gives you the power to change them. Replace limiting beliefs with empowering ones. Create affirmations, not as wishful thinking, but as a reinforcement of the reality you are building. Say to yourself, I am capable, I am disciplined, I am resilient, and then act in accordance with those beliefs. Discipline is the second foundation of mental training. Motivation is fleeting, but discipline is enduring. Your mind must be trained to do what it needs to do even when you don't feel like doing it. That's the difference between those who wish and those who achieve. The ability to take consistent action regardless of mood is what separates the average from the exceptional. Discipline means showing up every day, especially on the hard day. It means committing to your goals when no one is watching. It means waking up early to work out, studying when you'd rather watch TV, or practicing your craft long after others have given up. And every time you follow through on a commitment, you reinforce a belief: I am the kind of person who finishes what they start. Another key aspect of mental training is visualization. Visualization is more than imagination. It is mental rehearsal. It is training your brain to see success before it happens, so that when the opportunity comes, you are ready. Olympic athletes do this before every race. World-class performers visualize every movement, every step, every possible outcome again and again until the mind accepts it as real. The brain does not distinguish vividly imagined experience from reality. So use that to your advantage. Visualize your goals in detail. Where are you? What are you doing? How does it feel? What do you hear? The clearer the picture, the more powerful the effect. Visualization primes the subconscious mind to look for ways to turn your dream into reality. Let's also talk about resilience, because the path to any meaningful achievement is filled with obstacles. Life will test you. You will face rejection, failure, criticism, and doubt. But a trained mind doesn't collapse under pressure. It sees failure not as defeat, but as data. Every failure carries a lesson, and every lesson brings you closer to success. If you are willing to learn, resilience is the ability to bounce back, to adapt, to endure. It is mental toughness, and it can be developed. Start by changing your relationship with failure. Instead of asking, why me, ask, what is this trying to teach me? Reframe adversity as a stepping stone, not a roadblock. When you train your mind to see opportunity in hardship, you become unstoppable. Gratitude is also a powerful mental habit. It's easy to become so focused on what you want that you forget what you have. But gratitude grounds you. It shifts your focus from lack to abundance. A grateful mind is a peaceful mind. It doesn't mean you stop striving, but it means you appreciate the journey. Begin each day with 3 things you are thankful for. Train your mind to notice beauty, to see growth, to acknowledge progress. Gratitude not only improves your mental health, but keeps you aligned with purpose and perspective. And of course, let's not forget the importance of focus. In the modern world, distraction is everywhere. Your mind is being pulled in 100 directions at once. Social media, emails, notifications, noise. But achievement requires deep, focused work. If your attention is fragmented, your results will be too. Train your mind to concentrate. Set aside time for uninterrupted work. Use techniques like the Pomodoro method. Turn off notifications. Create routines that signal to your brain, now is the time to focus. And most importantly, protect your mental energy. Not every conversation deserves your attention. Not every opinion needs a response. Be selective about what you consume, mentally, emotionally, and digitally. There's also the practice of mindfulness. Training the mind isn't always about achieving or doing. Sometimes it's about being. Mindfulness is the ability to stay present, to quiet the noise, to observe without judgment. When you are mindful, you create space between stimulus and response. You respond with intention rather than reacting impulsively. Meditation, breath work, journaling, these are tools that strengthen the mind's ability to pause, reflect, and choose. And that choice in the moment is where your power lies. We cannot speak about mental training without talking about identity. You must decide who you want to become, not just what you want to achieve, but the type of person capable of achieving it. Identity drives behavior. If you see yourself as a writer, you will write. If you see yourself as an athlete, you will train. If you see yourself as a leader, you will lead. So ask yourself, who am I becoming? What habits align with that identity? What habits contradict it? The more aligned your identity is with your actions, the more effortless success becomes. You stop forcing change and start embodying it. It's also vital to surround yourself with the right environment. Mental training is not done in isolation. You become like the people you spend time with. If you surround yourself with negativity, complacency, and distraction, your mind will reflect that. But if you surround yourself with ambition, focus, and support, your mind will rise to that standard. Choose your circle wisely. Seek mentors, read powerful books, consume content that challenges you to grow. Create an environment that supports your vision, not one that sabotages it. All of this may sound intense, and it is. But here's the truth. If you want an extraordinary life, You must think and act in extraordinary ways. That doesn't mean perfection. It means progress. It means committing to your mind as your most valuable asset. Your body will age. Your possessions will come and go. But your mind, if trained, will continue to serve you, guide you, and elevate you throughout your life. We live in a time of endless possibility. The barriers to information, connection, and opportunity are lower than ever before. But that also means the competition is higher, the noise is louder, and the distractions are more tempting. The differentiator, now more than ever, is mindset. Your ability to stay focused when others drift, to persevere when others quit, to believe when others doubt. That is the edge. That is the advantage. And it is fully within your control. I'm not here to tell you that training your mind is easy. It's not. It takes effort. It takes commitment. It takes getting up when you fall again and again. But I am here to tell you it's worth it. Because when your mind is trained, you become free. Free from fear. Free from limitation. Free to pursue any dream with confidence, knowing that you have the inner strength to navigate whatever comes your way. Let today be the moment you decide to take control of your thoughts, your habits, your focus, and your future. You are not a victim of the thoughts you think, the beliefs you hold, and the internal dialogue you carry shape not only your perception of the world, but also your actions and decisions. Every goal that has ever been achieved, every invention, every act of greatness, it all began as a thought in someone's mind. This is why training your mind is not just useful, it's essential. Your mind is constantly influencing how you interpret events, how you react to challenges, and how you define what's possible for you. If you believe deep down that you are incapable, that you're not smart enough, not strong enough, or not lucky enough, then your behavior will follow that belief. You'll hesitate, procrastinate, or give up early. You'll settle for less because you've already convinced yourself that more is out of reach. On the other hand, if you train your mind to believe that you are capable, that challenges are opportunities, and that growth is always possible, then you will act in alignment with that mindset. You'll persist longer, take more risks, and recover faster from setbacks. That's the power of the mind. It dictates how you respond to the world, and in doing so, it shapes the results you get. The mind doesn't care whether a belief is true or false. It only reinforces what you repeatedly think. So if your thoughts are filled with doubt, fear, and criticism, those become the filters through which you view your life. You'll see failure before success. You'll notice obstacles instead of opening. But if you change the input, if you consciously feed your mind with thoughts of possibility, strength, and resilience, you begin to rewrite that internal programming. You start noticing opportunities that were always there, but invisible to a limited mindset. Training your mind means choosing your thoughts with intention. It means challenging the narratives that keep you small and creating new ones that allow you to grow. This isn't about blind optimism or pretending life is perfect. It's about becoming aware of the immense influence your mindset has on your outcomes. Two people can face the same problem. One gives up, the other gets stronger. The difference is not in the situation, but in the mindset. One of the most powerful things you can do is begin observing your thoughts. Catch yourself when you say things like, "I can't," "it's too hard," or "that's just who I am." Ask yourself, is this belief serving me? Is it moving me forward or holding me back? Then begin to shift your language. Start saying, "I'm learning, I'm improving," or "this is challenging, but I'll figure it out." These small shifts in self-talk begin to rewire your brain. Ultimately, your reality is a reflection of your internal world. What you focus on expands. Train your mind to focus on growth, on solutions, on progress, and your external life will begin to mirror those internal changes. When your mind is aligned with what you desire, everything starts to move in that direction. Motivation can be a powerful spark, but it's fleeting. It comes and goes, often depending on your mood, environment, or external circumstances. You might wake up one morning feeling inspired to hit the gym, study for hours, or work on a long-term project. But the next day, that spark may be gone. If your progress depends solely on how motivated you feel, you'll find yourself stuck in cycles of starting strong and quitting early. That's why discipline is far more reliable and far more powerful. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. It's showing up when it's hard, when it's boring, when no one is watching, and when there's no immediate reward. While motivation is emotional, discipline is intentional. It's built through action, habit, and consistency. The people who accomplish extraordinary things aren't the ones who feel fired up every day. They're the ones who act with purpose, regardless of how they feel in the moment. When you rely on discipline, you take control. You no longer wait to be in the right mindset to start. You become someone who honors commitments, even the ones you've made to yourself. That builds trust and self-respect. Each time you follow through on a task when it would have been easier to quit, you strengthen your mental resilience. Over time, that builds momentum, and momentum is more powerful than motivation. It pushes you forward even on tough days. Discipline also simplifies decision-making. When you've already decided to train at 6 or write 500 words a day, or avoid distractions during work hours, you remove the daily debate of should I or shouldn't I. You stop negotiating with your excuses. That structure frees up mental energy and gives your mind space to focus on execution, not hesitation. The beauty of discipline is that it compounds. It may start with one habit, waking up early, eating clean, practicing your craft, but as you build consistency, it begins to spill over into other areas of your life. You gain confidence. You begin to believe in your ability to set goals and meet them. And as the small wins stack up, so does your belief in what's possible. Of course, discipline isn't easy. It requires effort, especially in the beginning. But the more you practice it, the more natural it becomes. You train your mind just like you train a muscle through repetition, challenge, and persistence. And in doing so, you become someone who doesn't wait for the perfect conditions to act. You become someone who creates results through consistency. In the long run, motivation may help you get started, but discipline is what will keep you going. It's the foundation of any lasting achievement, and the more you cultivate it, the more unstoppable you become. Visualization and mental rehearsal are powerful techniques used by high achievers across every field, from Olympic athletes to successful entrepreneurs, not because they are mystical, but because they are practical. The brain has an incredible ability to simulate experience. When you vividly imagine an event, your brain activates the same neural pathways as if you were actually performing the activity. This means that with enough clarity and repetition, your mind begins to treat the imagined success as familiar, attainable, and real. Visualization is more than daydreaming. It's focused mental training. It involves creating a detailed mental picture of your goal, what it looks like, feels like, sounds like, and even what it will demand from you. You're not just fantasizing about winning or succeeding, you're rehearsing the steps, the effort, and the mindset required to make it happen. This kind of rehearsal prepares your brain for the real-world execution. When the moment arrives, it feels less intimidating because in a way, you've already been there. For example, a professional athlete may visualize their performance hundreds of times before stepping onto the field. They don't just picture the victory, they mentally rehearse the tension, the mistakes, the pressure, and how they'll overcome each challenge. That's the real power of visualization. It allows you to prepare for both success and setbacks in a controlled mental environment, so you're not caught off guard when they occur in real life. But this tool isn't just for elite performers. Anyone can use visualization to improve performance and build confidence. Whether you're preparing for a job interview, giving a public speech, launching a business, or learning a new skill, visualization helps you mentally prepare for the experience. The key is to engage as many senses as possible. Don't just see the outcome, feel the emotions, hear the environment, sense the timing and rhythm. The more detailed and realistic your visualization, the more your brain internalizes. Mental rehearsal also builds confidence by making success feel familiar. One of the biggest barriers to achievement is self-doubt. When your mind has never experienced something, it labels it as unfamiliar, and unfamiliar often feels risky or impossible. But when you repeatedly visualize success, you start to believe it's possible. That belief shifts your attitude and sharpens your focus. You begin acting in ways that are aligned with the vision you've created. In short, you become mentally ready before you are physically or practically ready. Like all mental training, visualization requires consistency. A few scattered sessions won't produce change, but 5 to 10 minutes a day of focused, clear visualization can gradually reshape how you see yourself and what you believe you're capable of. Pair it with action. Use visualization to fuel discipline, guide planning, and strengthen resilience. See yourself succeeding, then go out and do the work that makes that vision real. Your brain is your greatest asset, and visualization is one of the most effective ways to put it to work for your goals. If you can see it clearly and believe it deeply, you're far more likely to create it in reality. Resilience isn't about being tough all the time. It's about bouncing back again and again. No matter how many times life knocks you down, at the heart of true resilience is a powerful mental habit, the ability to reframe failure. Reframing failure means changing the way you interpret setbacks so that they no longer define you or defeat you. Instead of seeing failure as a signal to stop, resilient people see it as a signal to learn, adapt, and grow. Failure is inevitable on the path to anything meaningful. Anyone who has achieved something great has failed, usually many times. The difference between those who rise and those who quit is not how often they fall, but how they interpret the fall. A trained mind does not internalize failure as a permanent identity. It does not say, "I failed, so I must not be good enough." Instead, it says, "That didn't work. What can I learn from it?" That shift in perspective is what builds mental toughness. When you reframe failure, you extract value from it. You turn it into feedback. You analyze what went wrong, not from a place of blame, but from a place of curiosity. What could you have done different? What didn't you see? What can you improve next time? Every mistake carries a lesson, and if you are willing to look for it, failure becomes one of your greatest teachers. The process of learning from failure, adjusting your approach, and trying again is what builds resilience over time. Reframing also protects your identity. One of the reasons failure feels so devastating is because we attach it to who we are. If you fail a test, you might think, "I'm stupid." If your business struggles, you might think, "I'm not cut out for this." But those are distorted thoughts. Failure is not who you are. It's an event. It's something that happened, not something that defines your worth or your potential. When you separate the outcome from your identity, you give yourself the freedom to try again without carrying the weight of shame or insecurity. It's also important to understand that resilience doesn't mean ignoring pain or pretending that setbacks don't hurt. It's okay to feel disappointed. It's natural to feel frustrated. But the key is not staying stuck in those emotions. Resilience is the decision to move forward, even when it's uncomfortable. It's the quiet strength of saying, "This is hard, but I'm not done yet." That mindset allows you to navigate challenges without being crushed by them. Some of the most successful people in the world failed publicly, repeatedly, and often painfully, but they kept going, not because they were superhuman, but because they refused to let failure be the final chapter. They reframed every setback as part of the journey, and so can you. When you train your mind to view failure as part of growth, it loses its power to stop you. You become mentally resilient, not because you avoid obstacles, but because you no longer fear them. You've learned how to turn pain into progress, and that makes you unstoppable. In today's world, focus is a rare and valuable skill. With constant notifications, endless information, and non-stop distractions competing for our attention, the ability to stay mentally present and fully engaged in a task has become increasingly difficult, but also incredibly powerful. When you train your mind to focus deeply and consistently, you unlock a level of productivity, clarity, and creativity that most people never reach. Focus is not just about concentration, it's about directing your energy with intention, eliminating the noise, and giving your best effort to what matters most in the moment. Mindfulness is the foundation of true focus. It is the practice of paying attention on purpose, in the present moment, without judgment. When you're mindful, you are not reacting impulsively or operating on autopilot. You are observing your thoughts, emotions, and surroundings with clarity. This mental presence allows you to make conscious choices rather than being pulled around by distractions, habits, or emotional reactivity. In a distracted world, mindfulness acts like an anchor, keeping you grounded and centered. When your mind is scattered, progress becomes slow and shallow. You may feel busy, but you're not effective. Focus means doing one thing with full attention, while mindfulness helps you notice when your attention starts to drift so you can bring it back. Together, they form a powerful feedback loop. Mindfulness builds your awareness, and focus channels that awareness into sustained action. Training focus starts with intentional habits. Begin by creating environments that minimize distraction. Turn off unnecessary notifications, keep your workspace clean, and block time on your calendar for deep work. Use techniques like the Pomodoro method, short, focused work intervals, followed by brief breaks, to train your mind to stay engaged without burning out. Most importantly, build the habit of single tasking. Multitasking is a myth. The brain cannot truly focus on two complex tasks at once. When you try to do too much at the same time, you dilute your mental power and reduce the quality of your output. Mindfulness can be practiced through simple daily routines. Even 5 to 10 minutes of focused breathing or quiet observation can make a noticeable difference. Meditation is one of the most effective tools for cultivating mindfulness. It teaches your mind to return to the present moment again and again, building the mental muscle of attention. Over time, this increases your self-awareness, lowers stress, and improves your ability to concentrate for longer periods. Beyond productivity, focus and mindfulness also improve your emotional well-being. They help you notice negative thought patterns before they spiral. They give you space to respond to challenges rather than reacting out of habit or emotion. You become more thoughtful in your decisions, more patient in your relationships, and more resilient under pressure. When your mind is trained to be focused and mindful, you take control of your time, your emotions, and your energy. You stop leaking mental power to distractions and start using it to build the life you actually want. It's not about being perfect, it's about being present. The more consistently you bring your attention back to what matters, the more your results, confidence, and peace of mind will grow. Who you believe you are, your identity shapes everything you do, and the environment you surround yourself with either reinforces that identity or erodes it. Most people try to change their results by changing their actions. They set goals, make to-do lists, and try new habits. But lasting change doesn't start with action. It starts with identity. If your actions are not aligned with how you see yourself, you'll always feel resistance, and eventually, you'll revert to old patterns. Identity is the internal story you tell yourself about who you are. It's shaped by your experiences, upbringing, culture, and repeated behaviors. If you see yourself as someone who always quits, isn't good with money, or just isn't disciplined, those beliefs silently guide your decision. Even if you try to set big goals, you'll subconsciously sabotage your efforts to stay consistent with your internal identity. But here's the powerful truth. Identity can be changed, and the best way to change it is not by waiting to feel different. It's by behaving like the person you want to become. Every action is a vote for the kind of person you believe you are. If you want to identify as a disciplined person, start doing disciplined things, even in small ways. Wake up on time. Stick to one daily commitment. Each time you follow through, you send a signal to your brain, this is who I am now. Over time, the brain accepts this new identity as truth, and your behavior begins to match it more naturally. You stop forcing change and start living it. But identity doesn't grow in isolation. Environment plays a crucial role in reinforcing or weakening your sense of self. Your surroundings shape your habits, your mindset, and your expectations. If you're constantly around negativity, distractions, or people who don't support your goals, it becomes harder to believe in a new version of yourself. On the other hand, if you're surrounded by people who challenge you to grow, who encourage discipline, who model the kind of behavior you aspire to, your environment becomes an ally in your transformation. This doesn't mean you have to cut people off or move to a new city. It means being intentional about what and who you expose yourself to. Curate your environment like your future depends on it, because it does. Follow people who inspire you. Read books that sharpen your thinking. Spend time in places that support your goals, whether it's a library, gym, studio, or workspace. Small environmental shifts can have massive ripple effects over time. Even your digital environment matters. What you consume daily on social media, the types of conversations you engage in, the energy you allow into your mental space, all of it either strengthens your focus or scatters it. Train your mind by filtering what you let in. Ultimately, the fastest way to become the person you want to be is to align your identity with your actions and your environment. Ask yourself, who am I becoming? What would that person do today? Then build a world, internally and externally, that makes it easier to show up as that person every day. When identity and environment work together, transformation becomes inevitable.